Christmas, and it's time for me to say Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas to you. I've told you through the years that I want my flowers while I live. And I want you to say Merry Christmas not only to me, but to my radio audience, because it's Christmas time in the world. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. I just wanted to call and wish you a Merry Christmas. And, it'll be the 1990s soon. And, I think the 80s have been a very bad decade, with the race relations, the resurgence in racism. I don't know that it never went away.
Well, I really appreciate it. How do you feel about Bush? Hello?
Oh,
and the Panama situation.
Oh, I'm totally against that.
Well, I want you to listen very carefully to how I feel about it and call me back here at KBYE. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and this is Merry Christmas time. Those of you that would like to wish me a Merry Christmas today and to wish all your friends, all you will have to do is call 478-2103. A Merry Christmas to everybody from the Ra Funeral Home, the president of the Ra Funeral Home Company, and all of the workers. Merry Christmas to you comes from the Exotic Plants and Florists, 3671 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City. Mrs. Sylvia Bennett is the owner-manager. It's a florist shop. There's a full-line florist. They will buy flowers anywhere in the world for you. If it's a wedding, see Exotic Plants, anniversaries, birthdays, and funerals. Every day is Sweetheart Special at Exotic Plants and Florist Company. Every day is Sweetheart Day. Now, those of you that have a sweetheart, stop talking. Get your sweetheart some flowers. And you can get some roses for $1.50 each. All at the Exotic Plants and Florists, 3671 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I have listened with a great deal of interest to the activities that have happened throughout the world. And certainly throughout the world today, we hear men and women crying for freedom. I want freedom. And I have listened, and certainly I've listened at the people that are rejoicing about what's happening in Panama. But I have my own opinions, and I want to make it clear that the opinions that are expressed here are the opinions of Clara Luper, and not the opinions of the staff, owner, and management of KBYE Radio. I do not believe that America was justified in going into Panama at this time. I think of the 21 families throughout the United States and the related families and those young men that have been injured in Panama. And I ask myself a question. What about the timing of this event? Why would the President of the United States, who I understand now is going on his Christmas vacation and who's getting ready for his Christmas dinner, and the other senators and leaders that enjoyed with it, that will be enjoying Christmas with their families, how about the families that are missing members of the family because of the commander-in-chief of the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and others? What could be done? What could the president have done besides invaded Panama? In 1946 in America, we set up the United Nations with America as a host country. At that time, we vowed that all disputes would be settled through that body. Why was it that President Bush did not take that to the United Nations? We have the Organization of American States. Why was that? Why was it that they were not called in? Not only that, why was it that we went into a country to say to that country, this is what we want, this is a leader that we want that was duly elected? Were we willing to stand by and let the people in Panama work out their own problems? Now, I would like once again to say, so that there will be no question about it, that I do not believe and I do not agree with President Bush. Well, then it's another reason, according to what I understood that Bush said. First, he stated that they had killed an American military man. They also stated, the president stated that they had insulted a woman, and she was a white woman, and there was some other attempts against her. But then as Bush was saying that, I watched his lips because I wondered, where was he when black people were killed in the South? Where was Bush? And why didn't we send the United States forces into Mississippi? Why is it that we didn't send them into Florida on that cold night when the Moors were killed? Why? Why is it that we can go all over the world with our big guns talking about bringing law and order and fighting for democracy, and in America, millions of Americans today are on the streets with nowhere to sleep, no food? We offered $1 million for the arrest of the notorious general in Panama. Could we not take $1 million and feed the hungry this Christmas? And what about all of the unemployed people in America? Don't they have some rights? Are we willing now to put everything that we call democracy on a platter known as militarism? Now, the most embarrassing thing at all is to go in with all of the CIA, with all of the military strategy, and miss the man that we went after. Isn't that the most embarrassing thing in the world? Let one little man outsmart a whole army. In fact, I believe the Oklahoma City Police Department could have gone into Panama and have done a better job. Now, that's what I believe. I still cannot see how the president and the members of the Senate agreeing with them and the congressmen, then why didn't they go? I would like to see the thing change where if the president say, let's go into Panama, do like George Washington did when the people in Pennsylvania did not want to obey a law that had been passed by the United States Congress. President Washington led the army into Pennsylvania. Now, if President Bush had led the army into Panama and marching along with him was Senator Bourne and others, I would have not felt so badly. I would have believed that they were sincere. But when I looked at the ages of those young men that died in Panama, 22 years old, not having a chance to enjoy any of the things that they were fighting for. And the president say, well, I'm sorry. And they tell me that blood was running like water when our military men were brought into San Antonio, Texas, where they were placed in a hospital. The grief. How are we going to multiply the grief? Couldn't that have waited until we had tried negotiations? And then if we are so interested as a country to get rid of drugs and to put that responsibility on one man, what about these big drug dealers in America? Why can't we go in and invade them? We can't even find out who's bringing the drugs into Oklahoma City or into Washington, D.C. President Bush said they were selling it across from the White House. Well, I would like to publicly say that I do not agree with sending our troops into Panama at this time. I do not feel that the President of the United States has used the resources that were available. The United Nations, the OAS, and as I understand the Constitution, Congress and Congress alone has the power to declare war, in spite of the fact that the President is the commander-in-chief of the Army and the Navy. Now, I can understand Pearl Harbor because they went in and bombed it. Now, I know that Noriega has been talking about that we're in war, but talk is one thing and action is another. When I saw those children, those women that were bombed in Panama, I trembled for my country. How do we go back and patch up the damage that has been done? Why go in and destroy a city because of one man? It was there another way. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and it's Christmas, but Christmas is going to be sad for those families throughout the United States that have family members missing. Why, Mr. Bush, did we do it during the holiday season? Mr. Bush, you in Washington, D.C., why didn't you go to the United Nations and ask them to help you catch Noriega? Mr. Bush, why didn't we use OAS? And why did we have to do it like thieves in the middle of the night? Mr. President, was there another way? Well, our nation has always been a caring nation. You can't tell me that you care about people and in the meantime destroying people. What did we say when Russia marched into Afghanistan? Read the newspapers then. And we are doing it under the name of democracy. And speaking of that, I thought about my father, who went to Europe and fought in France during World War I to preserve our democracy, because those were the words that Woodrow Wilson told us. We are fighting to make the world safe for democracy. My dad went on a segregated ship to fight in World War I and came back to America and couldn't get into a hotel or a motel. Why didn't we march then? Why didn't we send our army to open? Why didn't we send the armed forces to open public accommodations for people that were citizens of the United States? I don't know. But I do know one thing, that he that fights with the sword shall die with the sword. Those were words that were uttered a long time ago from the man whose birthday we're celebrating. Clara Luper, KBYE Radio. Now, that's my opinion. What's yours? I know all of you saying that democracy is in danger. You are right. Democracy is in danger in Oklahoma. When I think about Midwest City with its few black teachers, when I think of Edmond with hardly a black teacher, when I think of what's happening to black people all over this country, and now we go in, I wonder why we haven't gone into Iran to get our men, our citizens who are caught there and been there for 3 or 4 years. Why don't we go into Iran? Why don't we go into Lebanon? And ladies and gentlemen, in South Africa, black people have been crying out for freedom, but the voices of the presidents of the United States have been silent. Let's have patience. Let's have understanding. Now, what is the difference? Oh, well, maybe I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and I don't understand all this. Maybe you understand it. Well, Mr. Bush, I do hope that you will have indigestion after your Christmas dinner, because of the fact that there are many young boys, young men that could be home with their wives today and could be saying Happy Christmas to them. But now they're in boxes in Dover, Delaware. My dad went to war to make the world safe for democracy. Came back to America and couldn't even take his children into a theater. Did we send the armed force in to guarantee the rights of black people in America? Let's look around. Call someone, ask them how many blacks are in important positions. Call around. In one of the saddest stories I have ever read and come across this week happened in Sasaska, Oklahoma, where a little boy in the 7th grade was denied the right to enter school, was sent home because somebody wrote Crips on the wall, and because the principal, according to the information I had, locked the door on this little boy and said, I'm sorry, you cannot come to school. I talked to that principal, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson told me the boy did not have a transfer. Then in the meantime, I called the family, and they brought a transfer that had been signed by the superintendent of schools. But this little boy was turned down because of racial discrimination. Oh, no, let's not call it racial discrimination. Let's say because his rights were taken away from him. As I talked to the principal in Sasaska, I say to him, as I understand, this is a public school that's supported by tax dollars, and how can you as a principal deny a kid? Well, what difference does it make? Well, the kid is a slow learner like Winston Churchill or John F. Kennedy or Clara Luper. What difference would it make? He's a citizen of the United States and should be afforded those rights. Yes, America, sometimes we get off on the wrong road. I remember Martin Luther King warning America about the Vietnam conflict. I remember that. But it's Christmas time. And Christmas time is a time for us to stop and look. Last week, I had the opportunity, last Sunday, to go to the St. John's CME Church in Spencer, Oklahoma. At that time, Joyce Henderson, the principal of Northeast High School, but the musical director for St. John's CME Church, was being honored by her church. And when I walked into that church, it was so warm, and there were red lights that decorated the stage so well. And in the midst of it, some of the best singing that I've ever heard took place. And as these people came to honor Joyce Henderson, I was so proud that God had let me live long enough to see a group of people that were willing to say thank you to a person that certainly deserved it. Oh, I wish you could have been there, but Thelma Parks was there, bringing her congratulations. Nancy Davis was there, and different members of the church. And I've asked Joyce Henderson to talk to me about that day, because I know Joyce was happy because Joyce wants her flowers while she lives. And today I would like to welcome Joyce Henderson to the Clara Luper Radio Show. Joyce?
Hi, Miss Luper.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm really fine, Joyce. And I'm so happy that God let me see them honor you. You deserved it.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be the way that it turned out, but I felt that everyone who spoke gave me more encouragement. They really did. I didn't know what impact I had made, and of course I did feel like I had witnessed one of the best celebration anybody could have after serving 30 years.
All right, now you served 30 years. Let's go back. 30 years ago, you were just a teenager, and you mean to tell me those people let you be their musician?
Right. In fact, I was 12 years old, and at the time, the minister, Reverend Curtis Long, was appointed to St. John's Field.
Talk up just a little bit.
30 years ago, when I was 12 years old, Reverend Curtis Long was appointed to be the minister of St. John's Field Church. And at that time, he was trying to build his church, and he went to my music teacher, Mrs. Jasper, to get a recommendation of her student or of a student whom she felt would serve well as a pianist of his new church. And I was one of her recommendations. And as a result, that's how I got started in it.
Okay, now you got started, and what did they do when you went to college?
When I went to college, on some weekends, they would pick me up in order to play. However, they did hire someone, but they never could keep anybody for any long period of time. And so they did hire a couple of people, and they stayed short periods of time. And when I finished college, of course, I went back on a regular basis, but I was an irregular pianist during the time I was in college. And, of course, in the summertime, I was available to play.
I don't mean being personal, but as you know, I'm a Baptist, and I don't know when I've seen that many CMEs in a small church singing. How did you get all of those people to sing? And I would like for you to tell the radio audience about the choirs that participated.
We had the mass choir performing this past Sunday, and that's a combination of our youth choir and the senior choir. And I grew up Baptist, Miss Lupe. In fact, I was a member of First Baptist at the time that I was the pianist at St. John. Both churches were across the street. So I still grew up participating in all of the Baptist activities as well as participating in the CME activities. So the church had no choice but to have what Baptist influence I had. But at any rate, the music that we all enjoy, really, I believe we've all agreed that that's the kind of music we like. So you do have a Baptist tone to the music.
When I'm talking about the number of people that you had, because see, some of us belong to churches with a large number of members, but we don't have the number of choir members that you have.
Well, in the choir, being the mass choir, we have a small church, but we all enjoy the music department of the church. And I feel like that's because we have been a close-knit church from years ago. And, of course, we have generations in that choir. And when I started with the choir, many of those people were young people like I was young at that time. And now we have their daughters and, of course, our daughters. In fact, I looked and realized I had 3 generations in that choir. And that didn't just start today. It started as we built 30 years ago.
All right, and now tell me about that small choir that you had. I saw a young man I know wasn't over 2 years old that was standing and participating.
We have the angel choir.
The what?
The angel choir.
Okay.
And the angel choir, if you can stand, you can sing. And that's the philosophy we have. And the young people in the church, we start them as young as they can feel comfortable with standing up there with the group. So starting at that very young age, we're able to build. So by the time they get into the adult choir, we have voices that have come up from 2 years on up. And they enjoy it. And they look forward to moving up to the youth choir and then into the adult choir.
Okay, I want you to hold it 1 minute because I must tell people Now today we have holiday greetings from Cashland Check Cashing Company, located at 1945 Northeast of 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. It's still time that you can get your check cashed. All you will have to do is to go to Cashland Check Cashing Company, 1945 Northeast of 23rd Street, and get that check cashed so you can finish your Christmas shopping. The Petite Salon is located at 1917 Northeast 24th Street. Mrs. Weekly is there, and let me let you in on a surprise. Not only do they do hair, but they also have a little dress shop there. Some of the most beautiful clothes you will ever see at 1917 Northeast 24th Street here in Oklahoma City. Holiday greetings from Marilyn Hildreth, your Allstate insurance agent. Marilyn is now located at 12028 North of Pennsylvania Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Now, some of you that have gone out to our old office that was burned, you found just a piece of ground. But Marilyn is now at 12028 North Penn Avenue. Her telephone number is 755-7252. I'll be back with Joyce Henderson. After 30 years, Joyce Henderson retires. Okay, Joyce, we were talking about the choir, but those songs that you did, who selected all of those songs for Sunday?
I have worked with Emery Shaw, who is the minister of music at Ebenezer Baptist Church.
And would you speak up just a little bit for me?
I've worked with Emery Shaw, who is the minister of music at Ebenezer Baptist Church. And he was one of the main, I would say, he trained us to help sing the way we're singing at this time. The choir members, they recommend songs. Our president, Jackie Walker, is one of the leaders when it comes to selecting songs that she feels we can sing and be effective with the singing of a particular song. And Emery gives us all of the little tidbits to help the song be perfect. So with his help and with all of the choir members, we sounded pretty good last Sunday.
Pretty good is not the word. You were just excellent.
Right.
And I noticed all of I don't know what you would call it, that the people were giving to you. How did you feel? And you sat up there, I saw them big tears in your eyes. How did you feel, really?
Well, I felt real good. It was a feeling that you really cannot describe except to say they're saying these things about me. And I felt like all of the hard work that I've done in the past, all of the ripping and running I've done in the past, that evidently they didn't go unnoticed, because a lot of things that people mentioned I didn't know had any effect on them. And when they mentioned some of those things, then I realized you don't know what people are thinking about you at any one time or at any time. And because they voiced them so well at the meeting, at the program last Sunday, I feel like, well, maybe I had made an impression on people.
I was so impressed with your family. The entire Johnson clan was there.
Right.
And tell me about your sons.
Well, I have two sons. We have two sons, my husband, William Gerald, and I. The oldest son is 21, will be 22 in a couple of weeks. He is a senior at Oklahoma State University, majoring in finance and business.
Was that the football player?
That was the football player.
Okay.
And
majoring in what?
In business in the finance area.
Oh, good.
Uh-huh. And my youngest son is 16, and he is a junior at Millwood High School, and he's known for his basketball ability. And does pretty well. He does real well.
I know they were really looking good on last Sunday.
Absolutely.
So dignified and so proud. Now tell me about your parents.
My parents are Eddie Lee and Fannie Mae Johnson. They are the best parents in the world.
Of course.
They helped to build the foundation. They helped me to be what I am. And Miss Luper, I should also add that you have helped me to be what I am. I feel like most families, if you don't have a good extension of people out there to help reinforce as well as help train, we could not develop to be who we are. And you have been instrumental in my life. My mother and father have 4 children, and all 4 of us are college graduates. In fact, all 4 of us graduated from Langston University. My second sister, Etta Mae, she majored in English. The third sister, Barbara, majored in business. And my fourth sister, the youngest, is Laverne, and she majored in math, and she is also an assistant principal at a junior high school in Vallejo, California, and she's home for the holidays.
Oh, good. I've got to see Laverne before she leaves.
Right.
Well, you have a wonderful family, and I would like for you to tell the audience what I did Sunday, because I thought I delivered a master address.
You did. In fact, she had my parents to stand, and she thanked them for not suing her. Now, what she meant by that, when we were at Dungey High School, Mrs. Luper was my social studies teacher, but she was one teacher you can say we didn't just learn social studies. We learned math. I learned how to type. I learned algebra. She was considered an interdisciplinary teacher, and we learned many things in her classroom. Most of all, we learned character, and we learned about morals and values. Miss Luper did make her contribution. She gave me $1 for each year of my service at St. John CME Church, and I thank you for the $30 contribution, as well as she made some, I would say, stimulating remarks, because I have taped all of that, and as I look at the tape, I still have tears come to my eyes, because different ones, especially you, have made a difference in my life.
Well, I'm real proud of you. Not only you, that entire class. We won at Dungey School. We won everything. And I looked at Mrs. Davis and was bragging about how my class won, and I consider myself as your second mother.
That's right.
Joyce,
yes.
You have retired now as a musical director, but you have not retired from the St. John CME Church.
No, I have not. In fact, I am actively working with a young girl. She goes to Harding Middle School, Patrice Whitfield, as well as Shelley Long, to help take over the different choirs. And I will be training them, because at this time, even though I'm not being the minister of music or the pianist, I will help develop other young people, and I feel like that can still be an asset. I don't plan to sit down. That's not part of what...
Students. Reverend Moore.
Reverend J.B. Moore was your student?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Well, now you have new information.
I didn't know that.
He didn't tell you?
No, he didn't.
Well, you tell Reverend Moore he better get his sermon together, because you know me, I want all my flowers while I live.
That's
and when
right.
I die, you don't have to worry about bringing me any flowers.
That's right.
Not bringing any food for Shelley, Merlin, and Calvin to consume. Give me mine now.
Okay. I didn't know that, though. But, yes, Reverend Moore has been our minister going on 8 years. And like they mentioned at the program, I have served under 6 different ministers and 2 associate ministers. And Reverend Moore has been there. And, of course, in the Methodist Church, you are appointed
By the bishop.
at a time by the bishop. And he has been reappointed 8 different times. And we have enjoyed his leadership at St. John CME Church.
Well, that sure doesn't happen at the Baptist churches. If they don't like you, they kick you out. I guess all the members are bishops. So what they do, they examine you, and then they call a meeting and vote you out.
That's right. I'm real familiar with the Baptists.
Okay, now, your husband is a young man that I've certainly admired, and I'm just happy that he's part of my family.
Right.
One thing that I like about him is the way and the respect that he has for you. Now, what would you say about your husband publicly?
Well, what I would say about my husband is that I'm glad that he is my husband, and I am Joyce Henderson because he has given me the freedom to be what I am and to continue activities that I feel are important to me. We've been married 23 years coming in July, and you don't stay married that long without the support of each other. And I think we kind of help each other out. In fact, he's my resource and I'm his resource. So because of that compatibility, we feel real good about our relationship.
Well, if you all ever need any counseling, I am a marriage counselor, but my business has been bad this year. I just don't understand it. My business has been down worse than TG&Y's. My business has been really bad, and I don't know. I guess everybody's doing like you. You are his resources, and he's yours, I guess.
Right.
But if you need any consulting, I'll be happy to do it. My fee is only $500. I don't know what it would be in 1990. Joyce, you are an educator.
Right.
And I would like to congratulate you. And first, I want you to thank all the people at the St. John CME Church and your friends.
I would like to thank the minister. I would like to thank the choir members, especially all of the members of St. John CME Church, my family, my mother and father, and, of course, all of my relatives who took time, because they didn't have to come, but they took time to come out to help with the celebration, as well as the many, many friends. Some of my sorority sisters were there, and just friends that I cannot say thanks enough to. They have been with me growing up, so they know me from childhood and now in my adult years. So I have a lot of good people to thank, because if I had not had the influence of many, many people, I don't know which direction I would have taken in life.
And now for the people at Northeast High School. Shelley has a special Merry Christmas for you that she will give you later on in the show. But now to all of the students at Northeast High School in Oklahoma City, the high school who beat U.S. Grant the other night, the boys, I have here on the line the Honorable Joyce Henderson with a message to our students.
And we did. We had a good game Tuesday night, and we beat U.S. Grant, and we beat Douglas High School, and we beat John Marshall. And
what did you say? You beat who?
We beat John Marshall.
Oh, you beat John Marshall. Remember, Mr. Davis is not our side anymore, okay?
Well, the coach is still one of my favorites. Tommy Griffin was my coach when I was the principal at Classen High School.
But you beat him.
We beat him.
Okay, let's go on with the conversation.
So we feel good about making those wins. We needed those wins. And at this time, the boys are feeling good. The Vikings are feeling good. And that's another part of my family that I haven't said much about. But being a part of the Northeast family, I have truly enjoyed going on my 5th year at Northeast.
Your 5th year at Northeast High School, and certainly the parents are proud. You're getting to the place you carry a crowd.
Well, I do, and of course I have good parent support, and you are one of my parents.
That's right, and I will be with you. I will be with you. George, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so very kindly, and be sure and say thanks to Mr. Henderson, and do have a wonderful Christmas.
Thanks, and we say Merry Christmas to you, and thank you for everything you've done.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's radio show is being made possible by Temple & Son, who sends holiday greetings to you. Temple & Sons, located at 2801 North Kelly, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Mr. Gates of the Gates Barbershop, located at 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue, would like to say thank you. I have only one wish, and this is Mr. Gates, that each one of you will have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Mr. Gates is the busiest barber in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. A thank you holiday greeting from Stale's Restaurant here in Oklahoma City. I would like to thank you for your business during the year 1989. And certainly it's been a pleasure to serve you the best food in town. Ruby and Jim's Nursery is located at 908 Northeast 30th Street. If you need a safe place for your children, call 424-4445. Holiday greetings from Mr. Carl Carbon, 427-8311. If you're looking for a house, maybe you want to rent one, call Mr. Carl Carbon, 427-8311, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I want you to know that if you want some fish, some tropical fish, and those of you that saw the Cosby Show yesterday and Thursday, I'm sure you're talking about that fish. But anyway, if you want a goldfish, remember they have tropical fish. You can get 6 for $1, all at the Exotic Plants Florist Company, 3671 North Everett Street, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's to you from McKay Davis Funeral Home here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Do you really want to know how to take care of business when a crisis comes in your life? Or don't listen to me, just call Mr. Davis, 424-3339. As we go down Martin Luther King Avenue, we're all proud to look at Circle J, the mini market and ice cream store. You can get Bluebell ice cream, Bluebell in all flavors. You can get malts and shakes and sundaes. They serve hot and cold sandwiches, all at Circle J's mini market here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Those of you that's having trouble with your air conditioning, don't try to fix it. You can't. Call Blaine Air Conditioning. The telephone number is 427-6603. Mr. Blaine is located at 1432 Northeast 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. And Mr. Blaine says, thank you, and I wish each one of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year comes from your hometown cleaners, the Bright Cleaners, located at 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue here in Oklahoma City. If you want your clothes clean, and I'm talking about clean, take them to Bright Cleaners, 4905 North Martin Luther King Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I had the opportunity this week to go to a little special restaurant and had some of the most delicious meatloaf that I have ever eaten. Now, if you want to eat some good food, I want you to go to 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue. You talking about some food. And if you don't take my word for it, I saw some of our ministers. I saw Reverend Young, and I saw Dr. Strong, and boy, they were really eating. I don't see how the people at Avery Chapel feed Reverend Strong because he can eat, and he was really enjoying that food. I'm talking about Dr. Strong. From all of us here on the Clara Luper radio show, we would like to say to you, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now, Shelley, you have a Merry Christmas for your principal, and let me ask you, is Joyce Henderson a good principal? Tell me what you know.
She's the best principal in, I'll say, the world. She's very active and involved with the students individually. She supports us in all of our activities, whether they are affiliated with the school or outside of the school. She's like a parent to us all, and I love her very much, and I would like to wish her a Merry Christmas. And I would also like to say Merry Christmas to all my relatives and friends. I'll be looking forward to eating a nice, big, delicious Christmas dinner. And I would also like to wish Merry Christmas to all the students of Northeast High School and the cheerleaders and everyone. Have a safe and happy holiday season.
Happy holiday from Sir Charles Taylor. Sir Charles Taylor would like to join others in wishing for each one of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Sir Charles Taylor is located at 6225 Southeast 15th Street. The telephone number is 733-7600. You deserve a tailor-made suit. Now, you deserve it, so call 733-7600, get your appointment, and go out and let Sir Charles fix you up so you will be ready for 1990. Dr. A.L. Dow is located at 934 Northeast 8th Street. He's your optometrist. He stands ready to help you with your eye problems. You never know what is wrong, and you don't need to take a chance with your eyes because you only have two. So go to Dr. A.L. Dow. The telephone number is 235-0536. And Dr. Dow says to each one of you, Merry Christmas and a happy, happy New Year. What can make you happy on Christmas? What does it take to make you happy? Well, I know one thing. I am just happy to be alive and to be able to feel this good old cold weather. Isn't it wonderful to live in a country where you can feel cold weather? Well, Mr. V's Grocery is located at 50th and Martin Luther King Avenue. You can go in there and buy some groceries, and they have a special sale today on chitlins. You can also buy fish. They have fish, all at Mr. V's Grocery. Now, those of you that just want to drop in and eat, remember they are open from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. That's Mr. V's Groceries. Johnson Shardina's owner, Mrs. Matthews, threw a big party for her staff and all of her children. It was something to behold. Located at 1643 Northeast of 50th Street. You have never seen the kind of food that Mrs. Mathis had. And those of you that know Gloria Mathis, you know how she knows how to throw a party. Not only that, she was wearing the dress that's geared for 1990. You should have seen her. Well, congratulations to Mrs. Gloria Matthews, who not only entertained her staff, her members, and her friends, but also threw a big birthday party for her daughter, Cheryl. And to Cheryl Fowler, happy birthday. And Cheryl, your birthday comes too close to Christmas. You should have been born I don't know when you should have been born, but that was not my business. That's at Johnson's Shardina's 1643 Northeast of 5th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. In spite of the cold, representatives from churches met at the Kappa Casa located at 1801 Northeast 10th Street, and it is a castle, believe me. They met to explain the Kappa Ebony Awareness Bowl, a bowl that's designed to provide a forum for youth to learn and share the history and unique contributions of blacks in America through local church and civic team competition. The following churches are participating: the East 6th Street Christian Church with Pastor Edwards, the 5th Street Baptist Church with Pastor Elkins, the Mount Olive Baptist Church with Pastor Woodbury, the St. John Missionary Baptist Church with Pastor Jackson, the St. Mary's CME Church with Pastor Gory James, the Tabernacle Baptist Church with Pastor John L. Mashak, the St. James Baptist Church with Pastor W.B. Parker. Now, those 7 churches will be competing in the Big Kappa Ebony Awareness Bowl. Now, those of you that have not seen that Kappa Castle located at 1801 Northeast 10th Street, remember in February I'm going to take you through that castle because I think you deserve to know what's going on in Oklahoma. Charles B. McCauley is the chairperson of the Social Action Committee, along with the history of the Kappa Alpha Psi, and the bowl is always given by Mr. George Richardson. The publication, Mr. Charles W. Morgan III, has prepared one of the greatest publications of all times. Now, don't forget, and I will be giving you the dates of that because I know you want to support the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. It's Christmas time. And on Christmas time, I give you the opportunity, and for 10 minutes, I will give you the opportunity to say Merry Christmas to someone if you want to. If you aren't ashamed to say Merry Christmas to your girlfriend, you can call on a Clara Luper radio show, and you can say Merry Christmas to your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife or your cousin. It really doesn't make me any difference. I think those of you, I've always talked to you about remembering your parents on Christmas. Now, you don't have to have a lot of money. What parents really need is a lot of love, a lot of understanding, and a lot of care. If you're not able to buy them a present, write them a nice letter and say, Dear Mom, dear Dad, dear Grandma, I love you. Don't forget them. You have that responsibility. Now to the men out in radio land. Men, you are really lucky to have such good wives. Do you realize what a wife is? Let me kind of define for you what a wife is. A wife is a cook. A wife is a house cleaner. A wife is a laundry. A wife is a shopper. A wife is a seamstress. A wife is a caterer, prepares your lunch, and she's also a waitress. She doesn't get any tips. When have you tipped your wife for serving your food? A wife is a bookkeeper. You don't keep the bills. Your wife does that for you. Your wife is a chauffeur. She takes you places. Do you know what a wife is? Now, since you know what a wife is and you recognize your own limitations, then don't you dare forget your wife on Christmas. Don't go buy her a little box of candy. You buy your wife something very, very special. That's your wife. And anybody that has put up with you all of these years, whether it's 2 years or 30, deserves something special. Now, if you men don't like it, you just let one wife call me and tell me you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And next week, I'll put it on radio. I say, ladies and gentlemen, there's a man out there that got a wife and forgot his wife. Now, you tell me you don't have a job and all of that. If you don't have a job, you just write your wife 50 love letters and give it to her on Christmas. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being made possible by Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. Those of you that would like to read a good book, the best book that's been written on the civil rights movement, be sure and call me at 424-3949 for your copy of Behold the Walls. On the first Sunday in January, the NACP Youth Council will hold its Jubilee Tea, or its Emancipation Proclamation Tea. There will be a table that will be filled like it is in 1989 and 90. But then there will be another table to remind us of those dark days of slavery, We invite you to come to Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue, and participate in this tea. Those of you that have given donations on the Black History Monument, we want to thank you. We're working hard, and we need your support. We went to the churches, and we say to the churches, we need your support. And we will be giving you a report of the churches in Oklahoma City that answered our call. At 1 o'clock today in Meridian, Mississippi, funeral services were held for Mr. Clara Darden, the national board member of the NAACP. Mr. Darden served as president of the NAACP in Meridian, Mississippi, testified at the hearing in Washington, D.C. in 1965, and was a former ring salesperson for Jostens. And many of you will remember him because he served this area. Mr. Clara Darden's funeral was held today at 1 o'clock in Meridian, Mississippi. Death struck Oklahoma City. On Wednesday at 2 a.m. early in the morning, Ruth Sanders went home to be with her God. Many of you know her by Ruth Hildred. Ruth Easter Hildred. But others remember her as a devoted wife of Sidney Sanders. A few weeks ago on radio, I was telling people about the Black History Monument. I was telling you, the people, how we wanted to build a monument in honor of blacks that had fought and died in the civil rights movement. Many of you called me. But I remember so vividly the voice of a Ruth Sanders, a voice that I had heard over the years, and a voice that had served to say to me, Clara, I want you to go on. I wish I could be with you, Clara, but my health will not allow me. I want you to march on. I want you to work on. And now Ruth Sanders is listening to the radio program, and she hears about the Black History Monument, and she says, Clara, I'm not well now. My health is just about gone, and the clock of time is about to tick out on me, but I want to be a part of that monument, and I want you to come by my house, and I want you to pick up a small donation. I say to Ruth, Ruth, you've helped me through the years. You have been a fighter for the cause of freedom, justice, and equality. And even though you would not make a contribution now because of your illness, your name will appear in that book. And generations after generations will pass by and read, once upon a time in Oklahoma City, there was a beautiful woman by the name of Ruth Sanders who worked to help NAACP. And as young people go into the restaurants, as they go into new opportunities, I want them to remember Ruth Sanders. She will be remembered by the members of the Fairview Baptist Church, where she served as a deaconess, where she served as a Sunday school teacher, where she served as a superintendent of the primary department, where she worked in the Missionary Society, where she worked in the BYPU, which later became the BTU. They will remember her. Ruth Sanders, with her smiles, with her encouragement, and with her Christian-like attitudes. There are others that will remember her through the Clara Lovers Club, through the Alphabets, which is an auxiliary of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. There will be others that will remember her for her work in the Criterion Study Club, because if she belonged to something, she gave it all she had. Today, those of us at KBYE would like to say to Sandra Jacobs, her lovely daughter, and Lord Esther Sanders, her son, and to the children of both Sandra and Lloyd, and to the sisters of Ruth, and to the sister-in-laws and the brothers, we want you to know that today we must give thanks, because once upon a time in Oklahoma City there lived a beautiful lady who didn't discourage children, who didn't look down on people, but who did her best as long as she lives. And today Ruth is in heaven. And God knows we thank God for Ruth. But Tuesday at 11 o'clock, at the Fairview Baptist Church, a city, a church, a club, a Sunday school, deaconesses will say goodbye to Ruth Sanders. And those of you that are in Oklahoma City and know you want to do something special for this family that has done so much for so many of us, remember the children are at 3613 North Terry Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It's Christmas time. Christmas time is a family time where the family will get together. The Amigos Club gathered on last Saturday night for their annual Christmas party. It was a gathering of love, of understanding, and of patience. It was a gathering of laughter, food, and gifts. And as many of the families throughout this state and nation gather for their annual Christmas dinner, let me say thank you. And as we've been together so many Christmas, and I was so proud today when Mr. Bobby Battle, my other son, called me on his program and wished me a Merry Christmas. And I know this will be a big Christmas for me, because once again, I will be with my family. Although one member of my family is in critical condition, our family is grateful that God has allowed us to be together again on Christmas. And as we look at the calendar of life, knowing that even our Christmases must soon come to an end, it makes us more excited about this Christmas. And to all of you, and especially to the staff of KBYE, we would like to say thanks. We would like to say thanks to all of you. And I would like to thank those of you that have visited with me every Saturday through the year. And those of you that are visiting with me in Moments in History at 10 minutes to 4 each day. I would like to say thank you. I owe you so much. And I do hope that I will be able to pay you for your kindness, your smiles, and your encouragement. And maybe I'll pay you by just saying how much I love you. And you have sent me cards, you have sent me flowers and things for Christmas, and I wish I was financially able to answer all of my cards. But I hope you can understand that I do appreciate what you have done for me. And because of the limited amount of time, of finances, I'm not able to answer all my Christmas cards. But down in my heart, I appreciate it. And each one of you know that you have a piece of my heart. Those of you that are interested in running for Miss Soul Bazaar, Miss Black Oklahoma, Mr. Talent USA, please contact me at your earliest convenience. And now it's time for Clara Luper to close the books on the Saturday before Christmas. And it's time for me to join others in preparing for my Christmas. But it's also time for me to say goodbye to you, and I hate to say goodbye. I would hate to say goodbye without telling you that this Christmas I don't want you to be arrested for tickets for any kind of crime. I want you to be good because you are good. God made you and he didn't make any junk. And I want to keep your head up in dignity and understanding and in love. And if by chance this is the last Christmas that we will be together, just remember Clara Luper has enjoyed every moment that we have spent to you. And to my lovely hostess for today, I would like to say thank you for the services and the refreshments. And from Clara Luper and
Shelley Luper,
we say goodbye to you. And may God's blessings continue. And incidentally, who's going to bake me that Christmas cake this year? I just remembered through the years, Anna Balcom, Geneva Smith, always baked cakes for me. But wonder who will bake Clara Luper a cake in 1989. Goodbye, darling, and I do love you, and I'll see you next week with a New Year's special. Bye-bye.